Hi dear friends and subscribers, this is your host Ram welcoming you to your daily edition of the Cricket Happening Show. Well, in this Cricket Happening Show, I'll be basically going on to some cricket news. The reason being, we don't have any much international matches being played, but yes, there are a lot of tour matches going on, which I will definitely dwell about. But basically, this Cricket Happening Show would be looking at some cricket news that has been making the rounds today and probably even yesterday. Well, the first thing that we'll look at is the tour match which is going on. Stumps on day one. England, as you know, they are getting ready to face India for the first Test match of the series, and this is their second game that they are playing. And this was played at the D.Y. Patil Sports Academy in Mumbai. It was a tour match between the England 11 versus the Mumbai A team. Well, England 11, they had a good score on the board. Stumps on day one, it was looking impressive. 338 for 6 on the board. That was really it was a good score, I would say, on that particular day. And for England, it was Joe Root. Now, as you know, England are probably pondering as to who is going to be the opener, because there has been some, who is going to partner Alistair Cook. It has been sort of a puzzle for them. Whether it, not puzzle, basically it's a suspense, because Nick Compton, unfortunately, has been failing. In fact, he failed yesterday too. He was bowled by Waigankar for 1. Joe Root is also another opener. He opened with Nick Compton, but he also couldn't contribute much. He was gone for 28 with 1-4 and 1-6. Jonathan Trott couldn't do much, so that was a bit surprising. He was gone for just 28 runs of 4. And Ian Belfield, he was gone for 4. It was that bowler Waigankar, who is a good pace bowler, and he picked up 268. Now, as far as England 11 are concerned, yes, the shining light for them was Jonathan Bairstow, the youngster, going on to make a very, very disciplined century, I would say, because he normally likes to play his strokes. Yes, he definitely played his strokes, but he really put his head down along with Ian Morgan and to put a partnership, because at one stage, England was 66 for 4, and then there was a big partnership between Ian Morgan and Jonathan Bairstow, took the score to 222, with Bairstow contributing 118 with 14-4. So that's something very good that England will definitely be happy about Jonathan Bairstow's form. And then Ian Morgan contributed 76 with 8 fours and 1 6. And Samit Patel, once again, after that century that he hit in the previous match, once again showing that he is looking to be, probably he has really worked on his batting, and his batting has really I think he's really making a statement there. And he was unbeaten on 59 at stumps of 68 balls with 7 fours. Stuart Broad was not out on 6, the captain of the team. As I said, Waigankar from Mumbai took 2 for 68, 2 for 75 for JJ Khan. So now just going ahead, this attack was not, I wouldn't say this attack was very penetrative, but I thought England could have done much better than what they did, but still, they would still take that 338 for 6. Now, that was the tour game between England 11 and Mumbai. The other tour game, which is on day 3, played at the Sydney Cricket Ground, where South Africa made 166 for 2 in reply to 480 put up by Australia A, with Hashim Amla having and Graham Smith retiring out for 60, and then Hashim Amla making 42 with 6 fours, and Duminy also making 25. Both of them were unbeaten. Now, as far as the second innings was concerned, well, as I said, this was the first innings, and that was it. This was the tour match which was played on. That was the end of the match. In fact, there was not much to be done, and that was the end of the match. The tour match, the first tour match that Australia A and South Africans played. It probably day 3. It actually ended in a. Whether it ended in a draw, basically South Africans were behind by 314 runs with 8 wickets remaining in the first innings. So we can say that probably today is the last day. So, I'm not going much into that particular match as far as the Australia and South Africans are concerned. That was day 3, and South Africans are trailing. In fact, I would say it's just started, because today is November the 4th, so basically it's 3rd. So basically the match has just started here, and Hashim Amla has gone on to 41, and the score has been pushed to 164 for 2 now, with Hashim Amla batting on 41, John Paul Dimini not on 24. Well, I'm not going to get into those. This is just a tour game which is going on. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at some cricket news that are making the rounds. We have some interesting cricket news coming up. One is tomorrow, as you know, the first one day international was washed out, and then because of the flooding there at the Premadasa Stadium in Colombo, the venue was shifted to Palakkele between New Zealand and Sri Lanka. But again, dear fans, friends and subscribers, the second one day international between Sri Lanka and New Zealand is also in sort of a doubt whether it will go the whole hog, because what's happening is, even though the venue was moved to Palakkele, the news is not so good, because I mean the forecast is for scattered showers. So probably we'll have some game, but probably whether the whole probably whether the spectators would be able to really get an enjoyment of the whole match, one does not know. They have set scattered showers, so if the scattered showers probably indicate that there could be some play possible, so we could still have some play, but again we'll have to see how things really go out. So things are not looking good as far as the Sri Lanka versus New Zealand tour is concerned. The New Zealand tour of Sri Lanka, rain has been absolutely following New Zealand all around. The other news which is coming in from Australia. Shane Watson looks to be having some injury, some soreness, and he could be a doubtful starter for the test matches. Again, that is not good news for Australia, because the South African-Australian clash which is going to happen in Australia is being viewed by the world as a real a key contest. But one wants both the teams to be in full strength so that one can really determine like which team is the best one. So Watson's injury scare is not good news. The one more news that one could talk about is, as you know, Stephen Finn has been ruled out, in the sense he's not going to take part because of some injury, and in his place it is going to be Stuart Meeker from Surrey, who has been flown into the England team. So he's a good pace bowler. One understands that at the pace center he was tested, and it looked like he was bowling at some good pace. He was pretty quick. So it'll be interesting to see how but I think Stephen Finn not being there is something I would say England would have to really see whether who is the one who's going to fill in the shoes of Stephen Finn. Graham Onions could be the person, but again, Stephen Finn, what he can do is, even on some dead tracks, he could generate bounce. The reason being, he's a tall bowler, and he's a very good bowler. Let me tell you, he's a very intelligent bowler. He has those problems with this while bowling, hitting the bails, which has been a perennial problem. I'm sure he would have really gone into some real deep thinking about that and see how he can avoid that. But what the main thing for me is, Stephen Finn brings a lot of variety, because he is a very good bowler, and with his height he can generate a lot of bounce. Even though the tracks are dead, Stephen Finn, just because of his height, he could get that bounce, and he could really make life difficult for the batsman. But so that is something which I think England would be definitely minding, because one would require Stephen Finn to be fit, but unfortunately it's not, and Stuart Meeker would be taking his place from Surrey. That is as far as England tour of India is concerned. The other news that I would like to talk about, as you know, West Indies, Otis Gibson, the coach, has already mentioned that West Indies are really on the hunt here, in the sense when they actually going to take on Bangladesh, he wants to see to it that West Indies put up a good show, and he wants West Indies to actually come into the top 5 as far as test match is concerned. That's real, I would say, a very positive thinking by Coach Gibson. He wants to mold this West Indies team into the top 5, and that says it all. Well, the West Indies are definitely capable of that. They definitely have the wherewithal to deliver, and I'm sure Coach Gibson is not the one going to be disappointed. And he has also said that Sunil Narine could be the key man in this contest, which is going to be starting when West Indies tour Bangladesh. He said that Sunil Narine, the unorthodox spinner, would be the man who could be really, one would really have to watch out in the sense he says that he could be not only a very good proposition, not only in the 2020 and one-day nationals, he could also make a big name for himself in the 5-day format too. So one has to wait and see whether Coach Gibson's words really prove prophetic, with Sunil Narine coming in and really making getting lots of wickets against Bangladesh on that West Indies tour of Bangladesh. Now, the other news that I would like to talk about, this comes from New Zealand. As you know, Jesse Ryder has been in a lot of hot water in the past, and he has not been basically getting into the New Zealand team. He was banned because he has been sort of hot-tempered. One understands that once again in a game, even though he scored a lots of runs there, he made a century too, but the news that Jesse Ryder once again has been the referees have the match referees have also gone once again said that in one of the matches he probably appealed for an LBW in the New Zealand local match, and it seems he probably questioned the two umpires there. So that is interesting. And on this note, one more news which is coming from New Zealand, which is something one really have to go to those days when when TV was not there and there was no 24 hours television. There was just hardly 6 or 7 hours of television, and for me it is really good to see that New Zealand radio, because what has happened is there has been some broadcasting rights problem with Sri Lanka. As you know, BBC and India had this when England were, and then finally the problem got sorted out. But it is very good to see that radio cricket commentary is still in vogue. I mean, radio cricket commentary is something which is what really started cricket with. So I think radio cricket commentary is something that everyone would really relish. But because of the advent of the internet, it has been so that radio commentary has really lost its luster. But I'm very happy to know that radio commentary is still prevalent when New Zealand radio, we know BBC is going to do the test match special, but I mean, one has to really give credit for all the radio cricket commentary happening. The reason being because, as you know, after internet came, one thought that probably radio cricket commentary is not something which anyone would go for, but I'm really surprised to find that New Zealand radio, even though they have actually pulled out of the Sri Lankan test, that there won't be any cricket commentary where New Zealand cricket commentator Brian Wardle, as you know, Brian Wardle is one of those great voices in radio cricket commentary from New Zealand. If one would have heard him, he had a beautiful voice, and New Zealand radio said that this time there won't be any cricket commentary. That's the radio sport has withdrawn because of some expensive broadcast rights, which is not good news, and New Zealand cricket commentary, radio cricket commentary wouldn't be there. So the New Zealand fans were the ones who really rely on radio cricket commentary would be disappointed there that there won't be any radio cricket commentary on the series between New Zealand and Sri Lanka. Very unfortunate, but as I said, Brian Wardle was a wonderful New Zealand cricket commentator, and he has been as a radio cricket commentator. I have heard his voice. In the past, whenever I have heard the commentary from New Zealand, Brian Wardle has been a key person as far as cricket commentary, as far as radio cricket commentary is concerned. So on this note, dear fans, friends and subscribers, your host Ram is going to end the show for today. But tomorrow I'll be back with a match report in case the Sri Lanka-New Zealand match, which takes place, the second one international, then I'll give you a full match report about that. Or, well, as usual, as you know, Ram is the one who never sleeps without cricket, and I'll be there with you once again tomorrow to have a talk with you. Even though the match between New Zealand and Sri Lanka doesn't go through, I'll still be there with my Cricket Happening show, which is a regular show on this YouTube broadcast, and I'll be there with you. I'll be sharing something or the other as far as cricket is concerned. Well, on this note, dear fans, friends and subscribers, a pleasure bringing you this Cricket Happenings day in and day out. This is your host Ram saying goodbye. Thank you.